Welcome to Hatfield's 2020 Candidates Forum. I'm Joe LaValle, your town moderator. Each year, this program is intended to give candidates a chance to inform town members of their platform, position, and intentions if elected. This is to educate, not separate. This year is very difficult in every aspect of our lives. The disruptions and absolute need for safety will be especially challenging. However, we must have town meeting and elections to allow us to move forward, yet in a safe manner. The state and towns are encouraging us to vote through a mail-in ballot. This year, please visit the town's website to print out a request for one. Call the town clerk's office as soon as possible for one to be mailed to you at home with instructions, and just available at both post offices and the center store across from Town Hall. So you can vote early to avoid any concerns as to having to either come in person, or not vote. This creates a third option that many might prefer. Then put the ballot, once you get it, into the new drop box on the side of the town hall, by the ramp, or mail it back. Now a little bit about our town. The population of Hatfield is approximately 3,200 residents, with just 2,400 registered voters. We occupy about 16 square miles. We have one of the smallest and finest independent public school systems in the state, as well as some of the best farmland on the East Coast. Settled in 1661, we followed what's called open town meeting, which is our form of governance, using town rules since 1670, when our first town meeting was held just over 345 years ago. To learn more of our town, please go to Hatfield's various websites. A lot of our history is well documented and continually added to. Each candidate will have up to 10 minutes to make a statement. The contested positions up for election this year are for the Planning Board, School Committee, and Board of Health. On the Board of Selectmen, a 3-year term, Brian Moriarty is running for re-election. Town Clerk, a 3-year term, Lydia Zish is running for re-election. For School Committee, 3-year terms. There are 4 candidates running for 2 positions. They are Rebecca Williams-Bench, currently serving, Christie Boudreau, Charles DeRose, and Dave Keir. Please vote for 2. On the Board of Health, a 3-year term. Carrie Flaherty is running for re-election, and Liz Kugler is a candidate for the same position. On the Cemetery Commission, a 3-year term, Jonathan Bardwell is up for re-election. The elector under the will of Oliver Smith, a 1-year term, William Bill Betzel Jr. is running for re-election. On the Board of Assessors, a 3-year term, Ron Punska is the candidate for re-election. Library Trustee, a 3-year term, Marcia Humphrey is running for re-election. On the Planning Board, a 5-year term, Steph Lish is running for re-election, and Elizabeth Barringer is running for the same position. And finally, myself, Joe LaValle, for re-election for the moderator position, which is a 3-year term. There are 2 open positions with no candidates. Housing Authority, a 5-year position. Redevelopment Authority, another 5-year position. Write-ins are always welcome, allowed, and accepted. There's 1 ballot question this year. Shall the town of Hatfield be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called the amounts required to pay for the bond issued in order to fund the Route 5 sewer and water infrastructure project? I like to continually educate whenever possible. This is a debt exclusion, which means it can only be used for this project, and when paid for, it drops from the tax rolls. This is an article at the annual town meeting, and this ballot question would be the second part of the process if it passes. To the candidates, we thank you for your commitment and candidacy to our town government. It's your participation that makes our town operate at its best. It's most welcome and greatly appreciated. Lastly, I would like again to thank John Novak for putting this forum together each year for us to better know our candidates. Now, here are the statements from the candidates running for the various boards and offices.
Hi, Hatfield residents. My name is Carrie Flaherty, and I'm running for the Hatfield Board of Health for re-election. I've been part of the Board of Health for 6 years now, and I've been chair for most of that. During my time on the board, my colleagues and I have hired 2 health agents, most recent being Charlie Kanicki, who's been on with us for about 4.5 years. He's a retired Department of Public Health employee, and he brings lots of knowledge and experience to the town of Hatfield. He's helped us with Title V's, perk tests, septic system installations, school inspections, restaurant inspections, and also court hearings. During my time on the board, myself and my colleagues have also secured our Sharps container program for all town residents, which is free of charge. We supply containers to any residents that need them for any kind of Sharps materials, and in turn, we take those containers back and we ship them off to the Sharps Compliance Company, where they then dispose of them. And again, that's all free of cost to the town residents. Also, that's gone on in the last 3 months. Everybody is aware that we've been involved in the COVID pandemic. My colleagues and I have decided that I would be the lead person for that, for the details and learning the knowledge for our residents. And instead of having all 3 of us involved, we just decided one person would be the lead, and then we refer all the information back to the residents and other boards and departments. So it's been a bit busy 3 months, but with that said, I've enjoyed my time on the Board of Health. I want to continue my time on the Board of Health, so I am asking for your vote at the time of elections to have me back and let me continue on my journey of being involved with the Board of Health. Stay safe, everybody, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Lish Kugler and I'm seeking a position on the Board of Health. I'll start by talking a little bit about my background. I am a native Hatfielder. My grandparents and parents spent their entire lives as residents of Hatfield. So from the very start, I was indoctrinated to the culture and the philosophies of the town of Hatfield. As a student, I learned that hard work, commitment, and teamwork were keys to success, whether one chose to pursue farming, college, vocational training, or serving in the military. I always think of Hatfield as the little town that could. Through careful planning, Hatfield protected its farmland, sustained its independent school system, maintained its form of government, and reinforced the belief that what happens to one of us happens to all of us. And in times of need, we are here for one another. This is our Hatfield. Moving on to my professional life. I chose the health field. I am a licensed respiratory therapist. I spent the last 32 years working in the neonatal intensive care unit at Bay State Medical Center in the city of Springfield. During those years, my job involved providing respiratory care to help thousands of premature and full-term babies survive and thrive. It was a job that involved a high degree of knowledge about health and safety, and a special need to communicate with parents and with other NICU team members. In addition to caring for my patients, I wrote and updated policies and procedures, and I served on many committees, gave presentations at national conference, and provided in-service training to my colleagues. An accomplishment that I'm especially proud of and like to mention now is that I was co-chairman of the NICU Evacuation Committee. This committee was tasked with developing a plan to move our baby population that did not walk, talk, eat on their own, could not regulate their own body temperature, and some that could not breathe on their own. It was a daunting task that required working as a team with people in various hospital departments as well as city agencies. In addition, it required securing grant money, developing a PowerPoint presentation of our action plan, providing hands-on in-service training on the equipment that we purchased, and conducting drills. Our hard work paid off, and later did a presentation about our successful drill at a national conference in Nevada. I mention this accomplishment because it highlights many of the skills I could bring to the Board of Health position. And these are organization, planning, communication, training, execution, and follow-up. I retired in January of 2020, but my interest in serving others has been a lifetime commitment. In the years that I lived in Franklin County, I was a member of the 4-time Emergency Dispensing Site Drill, or EDS for short. Our key role was to plan and participate in both drive-through and indoor clinics where medications or injections or supplies could be given out to a large number of people in a short amount of time in sort of a disaster scenario. The coronavirus is a good example of why we would need a drive-through EDS, because it's very contagious. We don't have, as of yet, a vaccine for it, so it renders it very contagious. If we had to do testing of our citizens or give a vaccine in Hatfield, we do not want people standing in the building together. That would further enable the spread of the virus. Instead, families would drive up in their cars, roll down their windows, get the test or the vaccine, drive off, and then drive off. In addition, this helps people with mobility issues, so they didn't have to get in and out of the car or walk any amount of distance. In addition to my volunteer work in Franklin County, I am currently and have served on the Hatfield Emergency Management Planning Committee since 2019. And, it's an experience that ties in well with my interest in being on the Board of Health. Finally, here are some of my thoughts about what the Board of Health should entail. The Board of Health is directed by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health as well as the Department of Environmental Protection to follow the rules and regulations that they have put forth. It's a job that entails everything from food safety to conducting inspections of septic tanks to making sure that state regulations are followed so that no child suffers from lead poisoning. It also includes timely reporting in response to communicable diseases and helping to prevent emergency preparedness plans. In addition, it takes tasks I mentioned here. I feel the Board of Health should, educate their citizens, for example, on disaster preparedness, ticks, Lyme disease, vaping, how to set up and run an emergency dispensing site, weather emergencies, food safety, and more. To accomplish all these things, though, I will require hard work, commitment, and teamwork, skills I learned as a young person and practiced throughout my career. But first, I need your vote. Whether you vote by absentee ballot or at the polls, please vote for me. I would appreciate your vote to get on the Board of Health. Thank you, and stay well.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Lish. I live on Straits Road. I'm the current vice chair of the planning board and I'm up for re-election on June 23rd. A little background on me. I grew up in Hatfield and graduated from Smith Academy in 2010 along with my husband. My dad and grandfather also grew up in Hatfield and continue to live in town. A few years ago I was looking for a way to get involved in town and the Agricultural Commission was looking at a way to start a community garden. It was about me with about 4 or 5 other committed residents that really built the community garden from the ground up. It's located on Billings Way. We have over 40 gardeners. We're entering our 3rd growing season, and it's been a lot of fun. And we still have a few plots available, so if you're interested in learning more, you can go to hatfieldcommunitygarden.com. I'm also a member of the town's 350th anniversary committee. And although many of our events have been stalled due to the COVID-19 situation, I look forward to celebrating with all of you when we are able to do so. I've learned a lot about the history of town, a lot more of the history of Hatfield through the 350th committee. And one of the things that has always stuck with me as a resident of town is I really, really appreciate the way that Hatfield prioritizes agriculture. and I'd like to honor that history and tradition and ensure that it lasts for future generations. On the planning board, I will support projects and policies that keep farmland without compromising the healthy and smart development of our town. A perfect example of that, if re-elected, I hope to see the open space development bylaw over the finish line. It was a bylaw brought to town meeting last year, but ultimately it needed more work, and so I hope within the next year to work with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission with the other members of the planning board to really see this over the finish line. In short, the open space development bylaw allows for more compact residential development, but allows for more flexible standards so communities can preserve and enhance rural town character by protecting open space and agricultural land without compromising what the landowners want if they want to develop. With a zoning bylaw like that in place, Hatfield would really lead the way. And I'd like to see us continue to be innovative and respond to the needs of long-term planning of our town. As current planning board chair Bob Wagner said at a recent meeting over the last year, for forever, Hatfield was a farm town with residents living in it, and I don't want to see us turn to reflect a new ethos that Hatfield's a residential town with farms in it. As farm towns get developed all over the Pioneer Valley, I don't want us to lose sight that we're a farm town first, and that's what makes Hatfield special. I've learned a lot while on the planning board the last year and a half, and I know I have a lot more to learn. So I'd like to continue serving the town on the planning board and respectfully ask for you to vote Stephanie Slish on June 23rd or with your mailed-in ballot. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone's doing well during this time.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Williams-Bench, and I am a candidate for the school committee. Usually, our candidates forum would look pretty different from this. However, I thank you for your flexibility, for your participation, and your dedication during this time. I'm a 13th generation Hatfield resident, and I grew up on a farm on Depot Road. After my graduation from Smith Academy, I left Hatfield to travel the world. I attended college on the West Coast and graduated magna cum laude with a degree in nursing and dual minors in gerontology and Japanese. Shortly thereafter, my husband and I relocated home, and we are now raising our children here on Depot Road. In terms of my career, I work as an emergency department nurse. On a daily basis, I work as part of a team making critical decisions with people from many different role groups. I also hold the role of staff educator. This is a leadership position that involves teaching, program development, mentorship, and evaluation. Last August, I was appointed to the school committee to fill a temporary vacancy. We hired a new superintendent, I joined the wellness committee, and I served on the principal search committee. But no one knew the changes that were coming ahead. COVID-19 hit Massachusetts in March, and suddenly everything changed. We immediately needed to fine-tune and implement our pandemic plan, launch a remote learning program, and ensure the health and safety of all our children and families. Meanwhile, our financial picture is ever-changing based on the status of the pandemic, and we have prepared many different budgets based on different scenarios. We are now meeting weekly to accommodate the needs of our district, and I encourage you to join us remotely. As your school committee representative, and now candidate for election, my priorities are strong, transparent leadership, especially in this time of crisis. I will work to increase communication between the school committee and all stakeholders. I am dedicated to innovation and view this time of change as an opportunity for creativity. I am an advocate for social and emotional learning, cultural education, project-based learning, and local partnerships. I want Hatfield to remain regionally strong, retaining resident students and attracting school choice candidates. This strengthens our community and also improves the financial sustainability of our district. In these uncertain times, we need school committee members who can guide our district into a new future. I have demonstrated local commitment, and I love our bucolic town. I want to build on our traditions. I also bring a global perspective and outlook that can lead our schools in the 21st century. My background, combining education and public health, prepares me to navigate the unique changes that we will face in the next few years. I am confident that together we can maintain the sustainability of our district and provide a high-quality education to all of our students. Thank you so much for your support. I ask for your vote on June 23rd, or you can request a ballot by mail at any time. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christie Boudreau, and I'm asking for your vote to join the Hatfield School Committee. First, thanks for taking some time to hear about the candidates. I know we all really appreciate that. If you'd like to learn more after this video, please check out my Facebook page. You can find that at Christie Boudreau for Hatfield School Committee. On that page, you're going to find Zoom meetings that are already established. And if you'd like to learn more, you have some ideas to offer, I'd love for you to stop by and chat. You can see all the instructions on the Facebook page. And also I want to give a big thank you to the many teachers, administrators, and other parents who have shared their insights already. I really appreciate your time and help. It's been very beneficial. I'd like to take these few minutes while we do have some time on video to answer the 3 questions I suspect you probably would ask. 1, who am I? Why am I running for the Hatfield School Committee? And why do I think I'm qualified to serve on that post? For starters, my husband Tim and I moved to Hatfield in 2016 with our young son, Jack, who was less than a year at the time. We did so primarily to move my father-in-law in with us, and we needed a house that would accommodate that. But we got so much more than we bargained for. A few, actually days after we closed on the house, it was our very first luminarium. And I think that night really showed us that we landed in a very special place. And we're really proud to call Hatfield home. My professional background is primarily in consumer goods marketing. I've spent more than 2 decades working in Fortune 500 companies, building global brands, leading marketing teams, and then took that skill set and those toolboxes and went out on my own to work primarily for nonprofits, helping them grow their businesses as they were trying to change the world for better. I sit on the Treehouse Foundation board, and that's a group that is working to change foster care system for the better and are making amazing progress in that challenging area. And I've been a full-time mom and an elder care provider. And I think as all parents know, that is always the most rewarding job we can have. And of late has been a more challenging one as well. I'm running for the school committee pretty simply because I believe that all communities work better when everyone who can give back does so. And I think we all have different skill sets. This just happens to be a place where I think my skills would work well. There are lots of jobs out there that all our skills take something different. Those of you that know me well probably would agree you don't want me coaching soccer. My heart would be in it, my skill set not so much. I am the daughter of 2 lifelong public school educators. And so I guess you could say education was the family business. And that's what I grew up learning about at the dinner table. And so I have a lifelong value, and I'm a believer in public schools. And I also have a very personal and vested interest in making our schools the best they can be. We've had 2 great years at Hatfield Elementary in the preschool classroom. We love Miss Patty, but we have 13 years ahead of us in Hatfield Public Schools. And so I, like any of you, for your kids or your grandkids, want my kid to have a great education here in Hatfield. And I want that to be in an environment that he and all of his classmates can thrive socially, emotionally, as well as academically. I'm also running because I think we're at an unprecedented moment in modern history, which when I hear that coming out of my mouth sounds like a huge overstatement until you look around and it's not. We're going to be asked
for more innovation, more creative thinking than we've ever been asked before as we go in to path out the future of public education. I appreciate that there are a great many unknowns still, even as we look at the coming fall semester. But I think Hatfield is really poised for success. Hatfield, as you know, probably is the smallest school district in the state that offers classes from pre-K all the way through graduating seniors. And small can be nimble and agile, and that's a real asset when change is required. Also, there's an amazing local investment by the community in Hatfield, and I saw that just a few weeks ago. I helped organize an egg hunt, which we did kind of on the fly just before Easter, and we had 50 homes participate in that. And something as simple and silly and fun as putting out an egg for kids to drive by and see with their families may not take much, may not say much, but it does say that there's a community there that's really invested in families, that's invested in kids and doing something for them. It's how I know that the rich traditions of Hatfield will stay alive no matter what the changes bring. And it's also how I feel really confident that we won't lose sight of any of our students and the needs that they might have. Our district is also about to have the benefit of the energy that comes from new administrators. I know a new superintendent and principal will be excited to join Hatfield schools, and that energy is probably something that, will be pretty useful in a year that may be rather challenging. I'm personally excited about the prospect of joining a really wonderful group of parents who are invested and already serving on the Hatfield School Committee. I really appreciate hearing how well they work together. I know that they don't always agree on everything, and that's okay because all sides of an issue really should be heard, and there's a voice for everyone. But what impresses me most and what I'd like to be a part of is a group that can work together to get to a consensus, and through cooperation, they find a way that they're able to lead. And I think that's really critical at a time like this. So what makes me qualified to be successful on the school committee? For starters, I'm experienced at managing very large budgets, multi-million-dollar budgets, with a lot of moving parts and keeping finances very much in check. I think the stewardship of our tax dollars is incredibly important. And it's also, I've had an experience keeping all vendors accountable for what they needed to provide. I'm a well-vetted negotiator. I'm a priority setter by nature, and when needed, the occasional motivational speaker to try and make sure everyone gets on board. I also have enough years behind me to understand that none of that is possible, and you can't be successful at any of that without being a very engaged listener. I'm curious by nature. I love to continue learning. I think that's critical. And also, I'm a big believer in doing the homework. And so it's kind of always been my MO. And you've got to be able to do that while working well with the rest of the team. I think it would be an asset to Hatfield School District to have my business background, but one that's paired really with a lifelong understanding of the perspective of a teacher, a counselor, a coach, and administrator that I grew up with. I do believe my creative approach at looking for win-win solutions whenever and however possible would be a really good thing to bring along to the team, as well as my straightforward communication. I think it's important to be respectful, to be clear, to be transparent, whether you're delivering good news or bad. All of that needs to be something that the community, the parents, the teachers, that everyone can understand and appreciate, even when you have to deliver bad news. What I'm looking for the school district to bring as we're moving into this new world is to make sure that we are delivering best-in-class methods for really rich learning environments and opportunities that leverage our great teachers, that can apply technology when appropriate, and they're mindful of what's going on and what we're asking parents and families to contribute. I would really be thrilled to hear from you. I look forward to your questions and your ideas and getting to know you better. Please reach out through the Facebook page. Again, that's Christie Boudreau for Hatfield School Committee. If I don't have the chance to speak with you before June 23rd, please do go vote. And Thank you for your consideration. Thanks.
Hello, my name is David Keir, and I am a candidate for the Hatfield School Committee. Before I share as to why I am the best candidate for this role, I just want to take a minute to thank all of our first responders, healthcare workers, the folks keeping our grocery stores open, and anyone engaged in the fight against the COVID-19 virus for all that they are doing to make our world a safer place. In these trying times, I hope that all of you and your families and those important to you in your life are safe and healthy. I am running for the Hatfield School Committee because I want to continue to contribute in a positive way to the Hatfield Public Schools, as I have done for the past 38 years. The type of institutional knowledge that I have will only make this committee stronger and more well-informed to make decisions. In 1983, I started my career as a PE teacher in grades K through 12. This progressed into teaching health to middle school and high school students. In the late 90s, I was appointed Dean of Students at Smith Academy. A number of years later, I returned to the classroom full-time as a health and PE teacher. The last 7 years of my tenure at Smith Academy, I served as the athletic director, earning Athletic Director of the Year honors in 2018, one of 8 in the state of Massachusetts. I have served on a number of Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, or MIAA, committees, such as the Blue Ribbon Committee, which was charged with reviewing and resolving gender equity issues within the association, the Tournament Management Committee, and the Golf Committee, of which I was the chair for 3 years. I continue to serve the MIAA and student athletes across the state as a golf tournament director in the fall and spring, and I am the West Sectional Soccer Tournament Director in charge of all Western Mass soccer tournaments for boys and girls. During my 38 years, I served as a class advisor, substitute coordinator, graduation advisor, all the while coaching the golf team for 29 years, winning 1 Western Mass championship, as well as coaching a 2-time state individual champion. In December of 2018, I was appointed interim principal of Smith Academy and served in that position through June of 2019. Most recently, I've been serving the district as a substitute teacher and volunteering to assist with the athletic fields, most specifically our new field hockey field. Enough about the past, and on to what I see as the things the school committee will need to deal with in the near future. The first major issue, I believe, is sustainability of the district. Because we are so small, we have unique challenges to remain sustainable. The costs to run a school are going up significantly. The expectations of what schools will provide their students grows each and every year, and all of these expectations cost money. The state reimbursements for these services is either not available or does not cover the entire cost. This puts the burden on the taxpayer. The growing number of students who require individual education plans or 504 education plans continues to grow, and the specialized services that some of them require is very expensive. It is the school committee's duty to find a way to provide each and every student the necessary services they need to be successful in their lifetime. Currently, Smith Academy and Hatfield Elementary School are quality schools with excellent teachers that attract students from other districts whose families choose to attend our schools. This program brings in a significant amount of money to the district annually. Fortunately, right now, the school budget is able to be supported with these school choice funds. The proposed budget for the schools for fiscal year 21 uses approximately $1 million of school choice funds to meet the needs of our student population. What would happen to the schools in our town if we did not have this money available? The burden would shift totally onto the taxpayers. We need to ensure that the quality of education remains or gets better so that we keep attracting these students from other districts. The second major issue facing the school committee is the funding of education in Massachusetts. It is funded largely through property taxes, which are capped annually, as well as sales taxes. It is vital that we work with our state legislators to change the way we fund education here in our state. We need to look at ways where we can possibly share staff with other districts to lower our costs. It's time to get creative. As the cost of educating our children continues to rise, we will also have to be aware that there will be those out there who will push regionalization as a way to solve some of the issues that we face. Hatfield successfully fought against regionalization 40 to 50 years ago and kept their own school district. We may have to fight that fight again someday in the future. Funding for technology is another major hurdle that we face, as we are learning right now with what teachers and students are having to deal with because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and having to have remote learning for all. Everyone must learn new skills as well as new ways to learn. We must provide the necessary hardware, software, and education to allow our students to be 21st century learners. This means we must continue to invest in the technology needs at both schools and for all students and faculty. Maintenance of the school buildings is another issue that we must stay abreast of. Smith Academy opened in 1980, that's 40 years ago. There are constantly issues that crop up just because of the age of the building. Hatfield Elementary School, while much newer, has its own issues and are also constantly having to be addressed. Both schools have parking lots that are in dire need of replacing. Please know that I understand what I will need to do to serve the taxpayers of Hatfield as a member of the Hatfield School Committee. I am not new to serving our town. I currently serve on the Capital Improvement Planning Committee and most recently served on the Town Government Committee appointed by the Select Board to determine the necessary steps if the town decided to move from a 3-member Select Board to a 5-member Select Board. When I decide to do something, I go all in. This will be the case as one of the members of the school committee. I look forward to earning the trust of the voters. Please be sure to either vote early or vote on the 23rd. See you at the polls. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Moriarty, and I am a candidate for re-election to the Hatfield Select Board. I want to say that I hope all of you and your families are weathering the COVID-19 storm we are all in the midst of. The Select Board and Town Administrator, Police, Fire, Emergency Services, and especially the Board of Health have been working behind the scenes with other local and state officials to ensure the residents are as safe as possible, are aware of the safety guidelines in place, and that you are updated with the most recent information using our town website and the robocall network. I'd like to especially thank Board of Health Chairwoman Carrie Flaherty. Carrie has been the point person for all things related to this pandemic and is the direct contact person for Hatfield with other cities and towns, boards of health, as well as the State Department Board of Health officials. It's been an honor and a privilege being on the Select Board these last 6 years, and I am asking for your vote once again so I can continue to represent you, the people, in the town of Hatfield as a whole, as we continue to focus on our infrastructure improvements, open space preservation, and slow and steady business growth and expansion. The town secured a state grant called a MassWorks grant for the Route 5 water and sewer expansion project. I was fortunate to be able to host Secretary Mike Keneally, the Massachusetts Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, as well as other local and state officials last fall to accept that $2 million award. This Route 5 project is part of the town's overall commitment to improve and replace aging infrastructure throughout the town to provide clean and safe drinking water and expand sewer services for our residents and businesses. To date, the town has invested significantly in its water infrastructure in excess of $2.5 million. This additional $2 million award will help support the proposed economic development by area businesses and new housing growth for residents. The project as a whole is roughly $3.6 million, of which $2 million is the state MassWorks grant. So, Hatfield residents will be asked to approve the town's share, $1.6 million, in a ballot question on June 23rd. I urge you to vote yes and seize the opportunity to leverage state funds for an infrastructure project to expand our tax base and create jobs. I mention this because on Election Day, June 23rd, you will see a ballot question, question 1. I would encourage all of you to vote yes. In closing, I'd like to thank John Novak for his continued efforts to keep the townspeople informed of town government happenings by broadcasting our meetings, as well as the other various events and happenings all around town. Again, to all of you, thank you for your support for my candidacy. Please remain safe. Thank you.
This concludes the candidates' statements. A note as to planning our annual town meeting. With such uncertainty in all aspects of any and all public gatherings, daily and weekly, the guidance changes. Therefore, after much discussion and communication with moderators all over the state and boards of select persons, we're working to hold our annual town meeting in the safest way with the easiest outcome for you. Marlene Mashansky, our administrative assistant, suggested the Lions Pavilion, as it has a roof and no walls, so very open air. We're planning our annual town meeting on Tuesday, June 16th at 7 p.m. sharp at the Lions Pavilion, out past the elementary school and the community gardens. This allows us the best chance to hold what would be the bare minimum to allow us to get a few articles passed so we can keep our town operating and elections to happen on June 23rd. We can then call for a special town meeting in the fall to complete the warrant articles posted that can wait. If the social gathering rules are lifted and our emergency planning feels we can hold it safely, we will use the same date and time of June 16th for annual town meeting and hold the full town meeting inside of Smith Academy as usual. We have high hopes, yet we must also plan for what seems obvious at this time. Our biggest obstacle is still communication. So please, go to the town's website and sign up for e-alerts, so any updates or changes will go right to your email. Please attend, as this is your town, and we must get this business behind us. If we meet outside, I promise it will be respectful, but fast, to avoid any discomfort by all, as well as limited to those few articles that need to be voted on. Voting for those that choose not to use the mail-in voting option, traditional voting will be Tuesday, June 23rd at the Town Hall. Please mark your calendars and watch the town's website for any changing information, such as times the polls will be open. For our town clerk and election staff, this will be rather difficult and cautious. Please be patient due to the safety requirements. Please bring your mask and practice good social distancing. And please be safe, mindful, and kind in this very difficult time. Thanks for watching.